All right, welcome back to the Friday show. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. We're so glad to have you with us. It's Friday, May 8th. On today's show, are people whipping up a controversy, or is there more to it? Plus, our tip of the week. But first, let's talk about the Kentucky Derby. Ray, what stood out to you?
Well, what stood out to me was the best horse won. American Pharoah was the third consecutive betting favorite to win the Kentucky Derby. He was the most hyped horse, and he won. It was a slow final time, very slow final quarter of a mile. I don't know if that was more a matter of his pedigree on the dam side might not suggest the distance, or if it was because the racetrack had dried out so much, making it really hard to close in that final quarter of a mile.
Yeah, and the horses behind that top trio that ran so well, kind of in a merry-go-round around the track, so many of those horses just looked like they were struggling. I don't know if it was the racetrack or whether it was the controlled pace scenario, which we saw. And I think that's kind of a product of the point system now, which is probably a good thing. You don't have the speedballs and the rabbits that have been in there previously, but it was really chalky when it came to the payout, though.
Yeah, you're not getting those 2-year-olds that won a bunch of money in graded stakes going 6 or 7 furlongs that really, have no business being in the Derby. So I think this is the new reality, that you're going to have more two-turn horses that don't have crazy early speed in the race.
It's American Pharoah who has taken the lead on the outside.
So, Ray, there was a report this week that the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission is looking into the stretch run of the Derby with respect to how Victor Espinoza used the whip on American Pharoah. Chief Steward Barbara Borden said it didn't appear to be super excessive. Okay, so how does that fit in with the Kentucky rule?
I don't know exactly what they're looking into. There are regulations regarding use of the whip. The two that apply here, in my opinion, are a rider who uses a riding crop shall, quote, give the horse a chance to respond before using it again. I have no idea what that means. Is it 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 3 strides, 2 strides? The other part of it is a riding crop shall not be used to strike a horse, quote, excessively or brutally. What does that mean? Is excessive 10 times? Is it 15? Is it 20, 50? I just think that this is silly to bring this up after this was the Kentucky Derby. He was using the whip to win the Kentucky Derby. They give him a whip for a reason.
Yeah, but they also have a rule, and it's a cop-out to say, oh, the rule is vague, so let's not enforce it. They are paid to enforce these rules. They wrote the rules, and they're paid to interpret them. So interpret it. Excessive, I don't know, 32 times on the same side of the horse in 32 seconds when your competitors right next to you are using the whip like 8 to 10 times. That seems excessive to me by the eye test. So all of these rules are going to be somewhat subjective. Even California coming up with a new rule this year where they're saying you can use the whip 3 times, but then you have to wait for the horse to respond before using it again. There's still some subjectivity there. Just do your job and interpret the rule.
Oh, that's great. So California's 3 times. Maybe Maryland will let me hit it 4 times. And New York might say 5. So the jockeys are in the middle of a race. They're trying to win a big race. And they're thinking, where am I? How many times can I hit this horse? How long do I have to wait for him to respond before I can use the whip again? There are rules. You can't hit him in certain places. But to say he used it excessively, come on. Well, my tip of the week is to go to BelmontStakes.com and buy your tickets today for the Belmont. Don't wait to see if American Pharoah wins the Preakness and goes on to try to win the Triple Crown in a few weeks. Buy the tickets today. They're putting a limit on the number of people that are going to be able to attend this year's Belmont. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, they're capping it at 90,000 because of problems they had last year. It was really crowded, but the Derby is also really crowded. That's just kind of the way it is. 120,000 people came to see Smarty Jones try to win the Triple Crown. That's electricity to me. I don't know if I like the cap.
Well, do you know that in 1973, when Secretary, this was in the golden days of racing, won the Triple Crown, when he won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths, you know how many people attended that year? 69,000 people were there that day. There's probably 500,000 who said they were there that day,
Yeah.
but only 69,000.
With all the Triple Crown activity going on, don't forget Sunday is Mother's Day. We want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and for me, especially my mother, Sharon Jagow.
Yeah, Sunday is not just Mother's Day in the Paulick family. It's the 90th birthday of my mother, Agnes Paulick, a big racing fan who loves to go to Gulfstream Park. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I'll see you Sunday.
That's great. That is it for this edition of the Friday Show. We'll see you next week from Baltimore for the Preakness.